Alright guys, Jackzer here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the CAMMUS C12 steering wheel and wheelbase all in one. Very, very interesting stuff. I'd like to say a big thanks to CAMMUS for sending this out to review. I haven't been paid or anything like that. These are all just my own thoughts and opinions, just to let you guys know the crack. You know, push the buttons, do the clicks, let you know how I feel about it. So, jumping straight in, this is a steering wheel and a wheelbase in the one. So in terms of build quality, when you first take this out of the box, I will say their packaging is excellent. Very nice effects, shiny text on the front of the box. It's very, very reassuring, let's say. It's a nice box and everything is packaged really, really well. Then you actually take out the wheel, you'll be very pleasantly surprised. You'll pick up something that feels very high quality. It's extremely strong and doesn't want to flex in any particular direction. The buttons all have a very soft, satisfying click. You have 5 buttons on each side. You have 6 rotary encoders. You have 1 7-way funky switch, and you have a little mouse thingy here that I've never ever used for anything. Also on the front, you have a rev light bar, these 2 lights here, and you have a counter for speed, which can be quite useful for knowing minimum corner speed when you're coming down a straight and you want to see how much you're maxing out when you're in the draft. Really, really cool stuff. In behind here, 2 magnetic shifters. They're really, really cool. As you can see, there's the display showing off my gears. Some nice stuff. And when I give the engine a rev, we'll actually see the lights show up on the dash, as well as my lights back there. So a lot of features going on. What you need to do is you'll attach the mount onto the back of the base plate. There's a little fan back there, tiny little fan. You just plug that into the base, and what that does is that helps to suck all the temperature out of this base into that plate and then out of the fan. Kind of like a little mini heat sink going on. Very interesting idea. I opted to use the desk clamp just for all my tests because I do see this being used in a more desk application sort of gig. So I did want to use it, as I probably know that if I mount it to my rig, it'll be very satisfactory. But I wanted to test this clamp, and I will say I'm very, very, very happy with it. Is it possible to rip it off? Absolutely, yes. But I will say this one thing. There's no chance of it moving, because when you're racing, even if you're being very violent with the wheel and you have it on maximum torque, there's no chance it's going to come off, because the forces are kind of being pushed like this. They're kind of central to this kind of axis. So there's no pulling, and if there's any pushing, it's okay. But if you do a lot of pulling, well, then maybe it might come off. But to be honest, no one does the kind of pulling. Like, that's me pulling pretty hard there and nothing. So when I say if you really wanted it off, you could, but you have to be very deliberate. So the clamp is super, super impressive. I say it'd even be better on a desk because wood has a bit more bite in it than this kind of slippy aluminium. So all in all, I'm really, really happy with the build quality. One thing I'd like to say about the build design is these little buttons up here. They are awesome. They're really, really, really cool because they're in a great position and they're very, very easy to access. One little thing I did notice though, and that's probably my fault, is because this kind of grip, this synthetic faux leather, it's very nice. It's like a very durable foam, let's say. Really, really nice to feel. It's a little bit slippy in the hand. So I think if I was going to be using this wheel anymore, I'd probably wear gloves with it. And there's another reason why you should wear gloves, is because if you have it on high force feedback and then the wheel kind of slips out of your hand as you loosen your grip for a second, but you leave your thumb in, you'll actually find that the rotary switch will come in and give you quite a nasty little kiss on the thumb. Now it's racing, you know what I mean? You can't avoid injuries at the end of the day, but maybe a different location for this, or not having this in there, may have been a better solution, let's say, because it is quite a big old impact from a wheel that's capable of doing some serious, serious force. Only a little thing, but hey, you know, steering wheels and motors and sim racing motors can always get you in every way, shape or form. You leave your finger out here and then the shifter could get you. I could say that about Moza, SimMagic, SimuCube, you know what I mean? In any case, there's always going to be a little bump and grind with these kind of things, so it's to be expected. Just a little simple design thing that I didn't really find too cool, but that's a personal thing at the end of the day. Lastly, on design, but they have changed this from what I have seen, because I've had this unit now for a couple months. R1, R2, R3, R4, and then L1, L2, L3, L4. Not a big fan. It really reminds me of a PlayStation controller, when, to be honest, CAMMUS have done an excellent job of making this seem like anything but a game controller. It really does feel like a real racing steering wheel, and they've done a good job. The build quality is nice, you know, cold metal everywhere you touch. This thing is really, really purposeful, really, really nice. But just the only little thing is just these needed to go. And then from what I've seen on their website, they have kind of changed the colors of these guys, and they have put actual racing buttons in here. So big thumbs up, CAMMUS. Awesome job making an excellent product even better. Next up, I'd like to talk about the force feedback. So all in all, I'm actually very happy with the force feedback. Is it the best and sharpest I've ever felt? Again, force feedback is a very personal thing. Not exactly. It is a very unique style of force feedback because it's coming from the center of the wheel. It's very interesting, and the software has some decent functionality, which we're going to go over in a minute, but it's not overly, I don't know how to say it. It's not very sharp, and it takes a little bit to get used to. Now, could you be competitive with this wheel? Absolutely. You could be super, super, super fast. I've just noticed myself, I could tune the wheel to get to where I want to a little better than I could with this one. But that's absolutely personal preference. With a bit of practice, I could surely beat my own times in the Mazda or get close to them. Or in any car in particular. I'm sitting in the Mazda now. It's just a thing of feeling and how I like it to feel. But you can really hustle with this steering wheel. Because of it has 12 Newton meters to give, you can really set this thing up to be a super strong, aggressive wheel, even on a desk. And this thing will, it'll communicate all the details to you. You're able to save all these little incidents, or if you have any slides or moments, very, very easy to catch. And because it is a round steering wheel, it's also very easy to drift with too, if set up correctly. As far as, is this wheel strong? I'm going to say yes, it is really, really, really strong. Sitting at 12 Newton meters, some would say that is the ideal sweet spot, because you have 12 Newton meters on the head there, so you could rock this thing at 9 or 10 and really feel all the detail. It really is, it's really cool product. In the software, you'll be able to see where the wheelbase and steering wheel pop up. You can update them, and you can also calibrate them here. Here is the parameters, how it's set up. So it's a very interesting setup system. You have damping, friction, and inertia. Inertia controlling when you turn the wheel, the car kind of keeps going a little bit. So there's kind of mechanical inertia, which is a very interesting feature, and I actually love that. It can really help bring a bit of consistency to your driving and allow for a bit of mistakes here and there, but tiny mistakes. Allow for the internals of the cars to kind of negate them out. You have friction, which is tire friction, and you have damping, which adds a little bit of weight to the wheel, or if you like a smoother wheel, you can just remove it altogether. Now, one important one is this page, game effects. You can really change up your wheel quite a lot here. Here you have CF filter and CQ factor. Now, sometimes when you hover over them, they will pop up, and sometimes they don't. But in general, these two here will give you quite different effects. So if you were to turn this down, for example, you'd get a very kind of dull wheel. Hiring this up would give you quite a lively wheel. Likewise here, both of these work together to really give you a feeling in the wheel that you want. Game friction and game spring, these are done from the game, I believe. You can add these up and they will kind of overlay it, but in general, I've never ever touched these, so I don't plan on doing it. The assistance, there's hands-off protection, end stop strength, which is like the stop at the end when you're done turning. So, this is the force of it. It is quite a strong wheel, I will say. And you have a temperature threshold, which will kind of reduce power reduce torque during overheating. So you can actually set where this is. You have 10 degrees to play with, either 75 to 85. It's automatically set on 80. And it explains the fault codes if you do have it. So very basic stuff, but I will say it's fairly comprehensive, and there's enough here to really nail this down the way you want to. So I will say good stuff by CAMMUS. It's simple, sweet, and gets the job done. So is the wheelbase and steering wheel worth the $600 that it's for sale for on the CAMMUS website? I'd say it's definitely very competitively priced. For what you get, a 12 Newton meter wheelbase with a steering wheel, and a steering wheel built of very, very high quality. It's definitely a contender, and it's some serious competition in the sim racing market. There's a few things, personal preference, that make this not entirely for me. Just little things, the ergonomics. I'm not mad of a round wheel kind of guy. I'm more of a formula kind of very small attack wheel, that kind of style. But that's, again, a personal thing. If I was doing drifting and stuff, I'd absolutely love this because there's a lot of space in between the shifters. The shifters feel just amazing. It really is a solid deal. And CAMMUS, I think, have done a very good job with this wheelbase, even it being a very unique design, being it that the wheelbase is in the steering wheel, essentially making the steering wheel a wheelbase. Personally, I see this wheel being used by someone looking to really get into sim racing using an office setup or something, and someone who wants, they don't want to go to the hassle of bases and different steering wheels. They want an all-in-one solution, which is what this offers. This is going to be perfect for them. And to be honest, I can see why it would be appealing in that regard, because it's a very compact, simple setup. The power is in your hands, literally. Very, very unique proposition here by CAMMUS. So I have to say, CAMMUS, well done. All in all, it's actually a very staunch product. It's perfect. It's sound. It does what it says on the tin for a very, very decent price comparing to other units on the market of similar capability. So this has been a simple review of the CAMMUS C12, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've any questions of it down below, I didn't want to make it too long. Hopefully I didn't make it too long. Just wanted to keep it nice, simple and sweet for you. It does what it says on the tin, and I think we'll be seeing quite a lot more from CAMMUS in the future. So hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next video, and stay safe.